You probably just came off from part 1 of 2, I hope. But this is phase 2, the last part of it. And on part 1, I gave you guys the lesson, but I just didn't want to scrunch up the video too long, so that's why I split it up into 2 parts. So this second part is going to be practice problems for you guys to do, and I'm going to give you guys 11. It's very similar to the 11 problems that was in the previous video, part 1 of 2 for phase 2. And we're still dealing with trinomials where your a value, this coefficient in front of the x squared, is a 1. Okay, so I mean, if you have not watched part 1, or at least see what it's all about, at least get the gist of it, please watch part 1 of 2 first for phase 2. Then that way you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm gonna give you guys the problems already. I want you guys to pause the video, grab a piece of paper. I don't know why I'm writing it down. I'm just gonna write it down. You know, grab a piece of paper. Actually, try to do these problems on your own. If you need to refer back to part 1 of 2 for phase 2, go ahead and do that. But these are your problems over here: x squared plus 12x plus 32, n squared plus 12n plus 20, r squared minus 17r plus 70, x squared minus 18x plus 72, p squared plus 4p minus 12, r squared minus 2r minus 24, and then the last 5, x squared plus 4x minus 140, m squared minus 10m minus 24, 3x squared plus 42x plus 99, 2n squared minus 32n plus 78, and then 8p cubed. Oh, and then I need to put this down over here: 8p cubed minus 32p squared minus 480p. So please pause the video, grab a piece of paper. You're gonna do it. I'm gonna give you guys the quick answers in a little bit. Okay, and then I'll show you guys step by step on how to do these problems. So let me just roll this for about 10 more seconds. Okay, here are the quick answers for these. So for number 1, for this one, x squared plus 12x plus 32, your answer could either be x plus 4x times x plus 8 or that. Okay, so check out your quick answers. If you need a little bit more explanation, tune in. Okay, so tune in if you want more explanations. I'll go each one of them step by step a little bit for all of them. Okay, so those are your quick answers. Okay, well, let me just show you guys how to do these problems over here then. Okay, all right, well, for the 32, let me just put this over here, 32, find out, again, there's a 1 in front of the x squared, so we're just going to deal with that last term over here. Really, you know, what 2 numbers multiply to 32? And some people will go 2 times 16, you know, that's totally fine. But then when you add up 2 and 16, it's not going to be a 12. So pretty much this is probably not the case. 8 and 4 is probably going to be the best bet. Okay, so you're just going to write this as x plus 8 and then x plus 4. And you can also go the other way around too as well. Okay, or x plus 4, x plus 8. Either one is okay. All right, let's do this one over here. What 2 numbers multiply to 20? We have 5 times 4, but it's not going to add up to 12, so probably not it. I think 10 and 2 would probably be the better one, just because 10 plus 2, that's going to give us the 12. Okay, so this is going to be n plus 10, and then n plus 2. Okay, all right, let's do this one over here. What 2 numbers, there's a 1 in front of the r squared, so we can do this. What 2 numbers multiply to 70? I immediately think 10 times 7. The only problem with 10 times 7 is we want these 2 numbers to add up to negative 17, but they're going to add up to positive 17. So remember, if you have a positive number, you can have either 2 positives or 2 negatives, and this is going to work out. Okay, negative 10 plus negative 7, that's negative 17. So you're going to have r minus 10 and then r minus 7. Or you can even switch it around. You know, that's totally fine for that one. Okay. Okay, so that's 1, 2, and 3. Here is 4, 5, and 6. So I'll start with this one over here. 72, we can go 9 times 8. The only problem is it adds up to 17. We don't want that. How about negative 9 times negative 8? Again, the only problem is it adds up to negative 17, and we want a negative 18. We're going to have to dive into the 12s. And so the pair that's going to work out is going to be negative 6 times negative 12. That's going to multiply to 72, and also at the same time adds up to negative 18. Okay, so it's going to be x minus 6 and then x minus 12. Or x minus 12, x minus 6. It's up to you. Alright, for the negative 12, okay, we're dealing with negatives now, okay? That means that one of your numbers has to be positive and the other number has to be negative in that pair, okay? You can also go negative 6 times 2. You can even list out more 12s if you want, 4 times negative 3, negative 4 times 3. But I don't want you listing down all the pairs when you've already kind of spotted which one adds up to positive 4. And only one pair will work. And then so that will be the 6 and the negative 2. So the answer over here is going to be p plus 6, p minus 2. Because that adds up to positive 4. Okay. Alright, negative 24 now. And there's a 1 in front, so we can do this. What two numbers multiply to negative 24? We have negative 8 times positive 3. We can also have positive 8 times negative 3, but none of them is going to add up to negative 2 that we want, because this is negative 5 if you add them up. This is positive 5 if you add them up. We're going to have to find some other pairs. I think the pair that we might be looking for is 6 and the 4s. So 6 times negative 4. We can also have negative 6 times 4, and I believe this should be this answer over here, number 6. Okay, these two add up to negative 2. So r minus 6 and then r plus 4. Okay, that is 4, 5, and 6. Okay, I have 5 more to go in terms of explanations. So again, what I like about these videos is if I'm going too fast, you can totally just pause, rewind. Okay, negative 140. I am thinking of since it's an even number, I can probably go 2 times negative 70 on that one, because double 70 is going to be 140. You can also go to a negative 2 times positive 70, because you can switch the negatives around on that case, okay? But they're not going to add up to positive 4, so we need to think of some other options for ourselves. And I think the best one I can also see is like if it ends with a 0, we can have 10s, yeah? So 10 times negative 14. We can also have negative 10 times 14. And this one is going to add up with a positive 4. Okay, so we can go x minus 10, x plus 14. Or the other way around. Okay. So if you haven't noticed, I'm just a little bit sick, but that is okay. You won't catch the cold through the video. I hope not. Okay, negative 24. I've listed down a couple of the pairs before, and so maybe I'll just list it down just a little bit more. Negative 8 times 3, 8 times negative 3, but these are going to add up to negative 5 and positive 5. We want negative 10. They're not going to work. The last pair that we tried was 6 times negative 4 and negative 6 times 4. This was a little bit similar to example 6, but then this is going to add up to positive 2, this is going to add up to negative 2, so we probably don't want that one. We have to think of some other numbers. The other numbers I can think of is 2 and negative 12, okay, and then negative 2 times 12. And we are going to choose this one because we want a negative 10 when we add them up together. So it is going to be m plus 2, m minus 12, or the other way around. Okay. Okay. Starting on number 9, we just like on part 1 of 2, we might have to do a GCF first, and I believe we can factor out a 3. So let's see if we can extract a 3 out first and then make this problem just a little bit simpler, because if we extract out a 3, 3 divided by 3 is 1, so we're going to have that 1x squared. If you're not particularly good with your division, I don't think there's anything wrong with grabbing a calculator. You know, 42 divided by 3 is 14. So we can go 14x over here. And then 99 divided by 3 is going to be 33. Okay. I mean, you can also do this long ways too with long division, but that will be for a different type of video. Don't forget, remember what those reverse arrows are for. You have to put back that 3. You're not really taking it out. You're not really eliminating it. You're just extracting it out. Okay, now you just got to figure out what two numbers multiply to 33. I think the only pair I can think of is 11 times 3. Do they add up to 14? Yeah, they do. Okay, so then your final answer is going to be 3. X plus 11, and then x plus 3. The 3 has got to be there. Okay, all right. Here are the last two. So I'll start with 10, and then similarly to number 9. Let's just see if we can do a GCF, a greatest common factor. Usually I try to use the 2. The one in front of the n squared, and it usually works. Sometimes it doesn't, and if it doesn't, we'll have to figure out another number. Okay, so that means if it doesn't, I'm just going to scratch this out and try another number. Okay, anyways, this is going to be n squared. Half of 32 is 16, so minus 16, and then what is half of 78? It is probably going to be 36. Okay, you know what? Yeah, let's just check it. 78 divided by 2, 39. See, I was wrong. So good thing I checked my work. It is going to be 39. I think that's what happens when you're a little bit sick. Okay, so we are going to now. Oh, I think we also forgot one more thing. What are we forgetting? Yes, we are forgetting to put that 2 back on the outside. Okay, it's a good thing I'm checking my work. We always want to be checking our work, because if we had put a 36, all of our answers are going to be wrong. Okay, all right, well, now what two numbers multiply to 39? Okay, the only pair I can think of is going to be 13 times 3. Okay, but the only problem with 13 times 3 is we add it up, it's going to be positive 16, and we want negative 16. So we probably don't want these two pairs. We probably want either both positive or both negative, because a negative times negative is equal to a positive number. Okay, and these two are going to add up to negative 16. So your final answer is going to be, your two factors are n minus 13, n minus 3, and then please drop down that 2, because it is what you extracted at the very beginning. Okay. All right, little mistake over here, but we corrected that one. It's totally fine. Okay, last one for part 2 of phase 2, and then you guys can move on to phase 3. I see an 8 over here. Let's see if we can factor out an 8 first, Okay, well, 8 divided by 8 is 1, so we're just left with p cubed. I keep forgetting the square over here. That should be a square. And I think I corrected that on the first parts of the video. Yeah, I did. Okay, so that should be a square. All right, anyway, 32 divided by 8 is 4. And then 480 divided by 8. Well, I mean, 48 divided by 8 is 6. So with the 0 will come 60. What should we put up front? We should put an 8 up front. Okay. All right. You have 3 p's over here, you have 2 p's, and then you have 1 p over here. What is the maximum amount of p's that we can factor? Okay, we can at least factor 1. There's at least 1. Okay, so if you have 3 p's here and you're extracting out 1, you're going to have 2 p's left over. And if you have 2 p's here and you're extracting out 1, you're going to be left with 1. And then these 2 are going to be gone, so you don't have any more variables left on the last term. Woo! Tongue twister a little bit. Okay, anyway, you still have some things on the outside. Remember, you still have that 8, and then you extracted a variable p. Okay. Now that this is a 1 in front of the p squared, now we can deal with what two numbers multiply to negative 60, but at the same time, it's got to add up to negative 4. So I am thinking, because it's negative, one has to be positive and the other one has to be negative. Okay, so 10 times negative 6 is negative 60. Unfortunately, it's going to add up to positive 4. We probably don't want that. We want this one instead, the negative 10 and the positive 6, because yes, they multiply to negative 60, but when you add them up, negative 10 plus 6, that's going to be negative 4 that we want. Okay, so your final answer is yes, 8p at the very beginning, and then your two factors are p minus 10 and then p plus 6. All right, I will see you in phase 3.